Yes, Vajra.
Yes, Vajra.
Okay. Yesterday we tried to complete till this particular task where we are getting items from the queue, bulk add queue items, and getting each transaction item, and got only one item. The problem that we faced, or the problem with this code, is it is able to upload items, but the only problem is it is not able to retrieve all the items, or it's not able to loop in with all the items. Now, here is something that you must remember. There is a concept called dispatcher and performer that you must understand. Dispatcher is assigning the work. It can be in the form of files, it can be in the form of queue items or anything. So this particular part till here sequence, okay, something that must be executed only once to get all the items to be processed is called dispatcher process. Now, if you can observe, up to bulk add queue items, do we need to do 10 different times or only once to get all the items from the
Only
database?
once.
Only once. But here, getting transaction item and processing it, should this be done like multiple times?
Yeah.
Is it right? Okay,
Yeah.
think it something like this. Now I have given we have 4 members in this team, 4 to 5 members. Now think that I have given a list of tasks and I have asked, okay, everyone go ahead and pick whatever task you want and do on that task. Now, will I have a control on which task you are doing?
No.
But what if I say, Sarika, go ahead and take project one and do it. So
Mm.
before I give you, Sarika should come and ask me, right? Vajrang, please give me task, and I will go and give Sarika task number one. Now, will I give the same task to other person?
No.
Because that will create duplication, right? Now, if Ragini comes and asks, I will give her the second task. Now, who is controlling assigning of the tasks?
Yourself.
I'm giving, but I need to, before that, I need to have all the task list, right? Before, if I don't have all the task list, will I be able to give you directly?
No.
No, right? So I need to have list of tasks that I need to work. And this part of collecting all the tasks that I need to give is called something called as dispatcher. Maybe not this list, maybe some files. I'm going to share each and every one file. It can also be taken as dispatcher part. Now, getting transaction item is like asking for work. Okay. Now here you cannot ask 100 works at a time, right? You can ask only one work at a time. In the same way, bot is also trying to ask work, but it is asking only one item to process at a time. Now, after completion of the task, it need to go and ask back. Okay, again it need to go and ask back. Again it need to go and ask back. Like this must be a loop that must be continuously executing. Is it right? Will you agree to my point?
Yes.
Now, till when this should be executed? Till I don't have any more items to get. Correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Now, let's see how we can do this. Now, this is a small activity that we cannot do with sequence because this is a problem with sequence. Like if I want to add get transaction item and log message, either I need to write in a for loop or I need to again add one more get transaction item and add one more log message. Is this a correct way of coding?
Mm.
No, it's
Clearly no, right?
almost like
Yes. So there is something called flowchart that can help us in this matter. Flowchart. Okay. In this flowchart, let's go ahead and add get transaction item and add a log message. See, check properly and understand. It's easy. So once we get the transaction item, okay, we need to log a message. Is it right, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Now, for this instance, let's go ahead and disable this code because the items are already in place. Let's go into my queue items, shade queues, dbq. How many queue items I have remaining?
244.
12.
240,
Is that
244.
244.
Yeah,
Okay, right.
244 is correct.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do I need to add the add items again?
No.
No,
no?
right? Now, if I just go ahead and debug it, let's see what will happen. This is running and I'm into get transaction item. I got one item and it's processing and giving me the result. Now it's not continuous, right? It's not adding all the items.
Yeah.
So
Only the
can
first
I
one.
go ahead and give something like this, get transaction item and log the message. Let's go ahead and see what will happen. Now after log message, what will happen?
Next
It
item.
will go and get and then
So
move
is
to
this loop clearly understandable? I'm getting an item, processing that item, getting an item, processing that item. Like this, how many times I need to do?
up to the
244.
last one. Like yeah.
Now, it may take all the items, but how will it know that it reached the end? Like this is the last item. How will this know? Because here you're going to get an item and here you're going to check with the last message stating that it is getting failed, right? Now, how will you check with that? Let's go
Queue
ahead and
is
see if
empty.
the, now how can you check if queue is empty?
Okay. Well, remaining is 0.
So you're telling that every time you get an item, you need to check if the queue, if there are new queue items or not, correct?
Yes, yes.
There is no requirement of such thing.
Okay.
If transaction item, if there is no transaction item, this transaction item value will be null or empty. So what we can do is we can write a logic. So flow decision can be used. Let's go ahead and use flow decision. And instead of directly giving it to log message, we'll give it to flow decision. Okay. And here we will check. What are we going to check? Transaction item is not equal to is not nothing. So when it is not nothing, it means it's having some value, correct? If transaction item, let's say that I'll take a person, Dilpen, your name is not Sarika, is it correct?
Yes.
So this is like checking a condition. What is your name? If it is not Dilpen, then go ahead and do something else. So even here, getting transaction item, if it is not nothing, it means there is some value in it, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if there is some value, can I go ahead and process it?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, what if it is false? I'm going to add one more log message and I'm going to tell last message processed. The last, no more items processed, correct? Is this what we need to do? Now,
Yes.
there is a new option in UiPath for flowchart. UiPath is gradually upgrading the way how the flowcharts are available, and you can click on declutter. Hopefully this should work. If it is not working, let's go ahead and let's declutter. It's not working. Flowchart, if there is anything else, I think the declutter is not working. Let's go ahead and try to declutter it. Okay, now I think this is simple. Okay, let's go ahead and try to do something like this. Now it's easy, right, to understand. Now, if you get an item, process it. If you don't get an item, just close the loop. That's what we are doing. So now, will all items be processed or not?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and wait till all the items gets processed. Now, there is something that you must understand. Now, each item, when it is trying to process, it is leaving in progress state. Am I right? Did we reach the last item and do we have no transactions data?
Yeah.
But
What does it exactly look for? Like, when you write the code, okay, but if
hmm,
it's true, it goes and
hmm,
gets transaction item. And the
let's
moment it's
let's try.
false, it knows that.
Let's try. Now here we have no items as new items, correct? Because everything is
Mhm.
in progress state. When I try to get this particular item, debug, I'll keep a decision block and breakpoint over here, debug. Okay, let's try to have a breakpoint, debug. Why is it not stopping? Debug. Okay, here getting a transaction item, what is the value of transaction item? Null. It tried to get an item. Now, what is the value still?
None.
So it tried to get an item and it got nothing. So do we have any item to process?
None.
So what is it doing? It is going into it is going
False.
into no transaction state.
No transaction.
Okay, clear now?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So no
Now
more
some
items to process.
no more items to process. But leaving items in progress will not be like people will not be able to understand if particular item is completed or not. Is it right? We need to make it either successful or failure, whatever it is, correct?
Mm.
Now, how can we do that? There is an activity for us to set the transaction item to either successful or failure. That is called set transaction state. Okay. So after completion of log message, can we mark it as successful?
Yes.
Yes.
Because the task is completed, right? So instead of going directly, I'll go and map this to set transaction status. And in set transaction status, what I will set? The transaction item, can I use transaction item variable here and making it successful? And if you can see here, the queue name, I don't think it's mandatory, but let's just go ahead and give it. DBQ is the queue name, and let's go ahead and try to work. But after setting it to success, can I go and get one more item?
Yes.
So getting an item, understand this flow properly. Getting an item, checking if the item exists or not. If it exists, log a message. If it is logged successful, set the transaction to success. If it is after setting it to success, go and get the next item. So I'll just enable back my previous code control now. Why did I enable back this particular code? Because I don't have any new items to process, right? So what get transaction item will give me?
In
No
progress.
transaction items.
No transaction. It will not get any
None.
transaction.
Sorry.
So
Yeah,
get
so that
transaction is meant to get only new transactions.
perfect. He got
Okay.
100% marks in it.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you can see here, I got all the items and I'm taking in. Now again, I got some around 82 items or so. Now I get one more item. Now let's see here. Processing the item. After adding the log message, what is it doing? Setting the transaction status to success. So see the value. For now, there are no transactions in success state. Okay. The moment you do step into, it is taking one item to success state. Now, can we say that this particular item successfully completed all the steps that it must do?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we will be able to clearly understand if it is successful or not. Clear?
Yeah.
Now, there are few rows. Now, I'll also tell you what is business rule exception and what is system exception. Then we'll continue further. There are few rows which contains first name, like the first name is first name itself. Let's see if we can get. So can you see here? The first name, the string value itself is first name, str first name. Is it a valid string?
No.
So according to the business, I'm asking it whenever you get first name equal to str first name, then throw it as a business rule exception. Don't process that item. I'm just gradually adding up more components on it. See here, see our task is completed. Like, are we able to get all the items to process? Now, if I just continue here, I will get all the items. Let's remove the breakpoint and I will add it as log message, correct? Now let's add one more step onto it. Now names are okay, but if it is str underscore first name, which is invalid, you should not add a log message, but you should throw a business rule exception. Now how will you handle that?
Validate against the transaction value or no,
Hmm.
right?
You're right. So instead of going and directly adding it to log message, before this, what we need to do? We need to write one more condition. What is that condition?
If condition.
If condition we need to write. And what should be the if condition here? I need to check if transaction item dot specific content dot first name dot toString equal to str first name. Is it right?
Yes.
If it is str first name, then should I process this item or should I set the transaction status to business rule exception?
Set this
Set.
to business rule exception.
So even that you can use set transaction
Set
status.
transaction status.
Okay. So again, go ahead into activities, set transaction status, and instead of marking it as successful, change it to failed. Now, why is it failed? Invalid first name. This is a custom name. Okay. Now the transaction item, the same transaction item we need to give, right? Whatever we got from here. And after getting it to failed, if you can see here, what is the error type? Is it a business rule exception or system exception?
Yes.
Business rule.
Because it is my business condition not to process it, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you want to give any further details, you can give in details. But after setting it to transaction to failure, do we need to stop or can we continue to the next item?
Next item.
Continue.
So
to next.
can I just map it back into the get transaction status again?
Yes.
Now, if you observe properly, this is getting decluttered or this is getting completely cluttered, and I'm not able to clearly understand what I need to do, correct? After few activities, it will not be easy for me to understand the flow, correct or not?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go into RE framework in a while, but understand that why only working with flowchart may not be a valid option. Okay, over a period of time, this becomes tough to understand. Anyhow, this will work for now. Let's go ahead and debug the flow. Again, something that we must understand. Now, I did not process all the items into the queue from the queue. Now, do I still have new items to process?
Yes. Because you didn't process all.
Exactly. I have all the new items close to 20. Now, should I add new items again to the queue?
No.
Now, how can I avoid it? Like this dispatcher part, how can I avoid it?
If nothing is, I mean, if there is already new, then don't add or.
Okay, so how can I check if there are items that are already new? So there is something called as get queue items activity.
Okay.
So here we are going to get all the items that are in new
New
state.
status.
Okay, and from here I'm going to get queue items. Now, why I wrote INumerable of new items? If you hover on this, can you see IEnumerable of Q item?
Yes.
So this is the data type. It's a collection. Okay, it will give me a list of all the new items. Now, if the count is greater than 0, then do I need to add the items?
Yes.
No.
No, because the count is
Greater.
already
Sorry.
greater than
Count
0.
is in 0. Sorry.
Okay, so I need not add them. Now, if I can also do something like this, IEnumerable Q items dot count, if it is equal to 0, only if it is equal to 0, then go ahead and add new items. If not equal to 0, then can we go ahead and process them?
Yes.
Now, why I didn't add this flowchart inside else block? Because let's assume that Q items are 0. If I add this to the else block, it will add all the items and it will stop. It will not process all the items, correct? This part will not work. Let's say that there are no items. I got 0 items. It runs
Right.
the dispatcher, and will it run the performer? Because it's in the
No.
else block. So it should not be in the
Then
else block. So you
right.
need to keep it outside. Okay. Now what can be added in the else block? Don't leave else blocks empty. Just mention stating that new items exist in existing items count. So we are just going to check what are the existing items count. So this will also help in logging as well as clearly understanding like why we did not proceed with adding new items. Understood this logic on why we are not doing that or why we don't leave this empty?
Can you repeat that? Vajra?
Okay, now if I don't add log message here, okay, now see the first log message that came in. Now if I don't get this log message, how will I know how many items are already existing in the queue? My question will be
Okay.
why the dispatcher part did not run, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Got it. It's like
So just
breakpoint in the log messages.
adding like information in the log messages
Log messages.
whenever
Okay.
required. Now I have all the items completed. Now if you see here, still str first name came in the log message. Why did this work? Why did not work? Let's try to identify. Copy.
It would be in the last queue. It's already no.
No, it's not. It's not correct. Like getting the values. Now, if we can just see here, this one transaction item dot specific content. Let's just see the properties. Okay, in this first name, it should be str first name. Let's just try to hit. Okay, there is nothing changed, so we should not get some values. Now let's go ahead and see what we have. And here, let's go ahead and see failed items. Now, can you see items that are failed?
Yeah.
Hey, wait, I will show you one more daughter. Come, come. Da, da, da. Okay, she is my second daughter
So
or
adorable.
my first daughter, my wife's sister's daughter.
Oh.
Hi,
How
hi, Dhriti. Her name is Dhriti. Hi.
Pretty.
so adorable.
My daughter
She's
and she are just 7 months or 8 months old. Like difference. Hi. Okay, go ahead and play now. Okay, bye. Go.
She's not afraid of you, right?
No, she's not. Bye bye. Go.
But they
Bye.
have some
You
resemblance. Right?
Yeah, because they are cousins, right? Direct cousins.
know the things that you talk, and that should not make them feel that my dad is an alien or something. UiPath, RPA, successful.
No, they will not stay with me. Like whenever I'm recording, I'll keep them out. Okay, coming back. So if you can see here, these are failed items. And can you see invalid first name that came in? So whenever I get items like first name, now if you can see here, invalid first name, this is not correct, right? There is some issue. I think it's not giving me the correct values. Let's go ahead and see. Might be I have mapped it in wrong way. Now let's go and try to find out. So I'm trying to get an item. If I get an item, I'm checking if it is first name or not. If it is true, then I need to throw business rule exception. I just mapped it in reverse. Okay,
Oh.
so the false branch should be on the opposite side and the true branch should be on the opposite side. So if it is true, then go ahead and try to throw a business rule exception. If it is false, then go ahead and log message. Now, did you understand why it failed? Like why it did not give correct values?
Point. Okay, got it.
Okay, let's go ahead and run the board. So now it's typing in all the values and all the str first name will be throwing out as an exception. Now we are getting things correctly, right? Now, if there are new items, will new items be added again to the queue in this
Yes.
logic?
Yes.
Yeah, the answer is no. If there are existing new items, it will not add again because we are checking with the queue items first. And if the queue items are 0, only then we are dispatching the queue items or adding the queue items. And here we solve two things. Now, every time I get to process one item, I'm not stopping at that one item. I'm just continuing and processing the other items as well. Is this right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I need to throw a business rule exception, even that is handled in this particular flow. Is it right?
Yes.
So I'm going to deploy this bot right away. Publish and complete flow with queues. Click on publish. I have my code. Let's go and try to deploy this. Copying my orchestrator cloud.uipath.com. So this is my orchestrator. I'm going into my tenant. Okay. And this is my prod tenant. I'll go into my tenant and click on packages, click on upload, click on browse, and then hit the new version. Select the new version and click on see which process can be upgraded. Because I already have this process in place, I can upgrade this process. There is no need for me to go to process and upgrade it manually. So this option allows me to upgrade it. Now go to process, jobs. What is the name of it? It is 2264. Yeah, this is the 2264 project. Let's go ahead and start it. Sorry, it's 2263. Let's go with 2263. This is a process and any robot, any machine, click on start. Process is running. Now items must be added. Since the items are already in queue, if you can see the transactions, there are already 340 items in the queue. Now will it add new items again?
No.
So it will process the existing ones. Now, if it is, will it leave in progress state? Will the leave items to in progress state? Or will it move to success or failure?
Either success
move
or
to-
failure.
So it will not leave into in progress state, right?
Mhm.
No.
Okay. Now let's go with successful items. We can see the successful items, and these items are the ones that are not having str username, and the failed items are the ones that will have str username and failed because of a business rule exception.
Yeah.
Understood? So
Yeah.
with these simple changes, we are able to successfully complete each and every point that we need to have. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So
Mhm.
what I'll do is I'll just go and copy this flow. I'll just copy as export as image, and I will add it at the bottom. So this is my flow db. Let me just go ahead and open this one also. Copy as clipboard. Okay. Get queue items. Check if the queue items are available. Get credential, and this is the dispatcher part. And bulk add queue items will only execute if there are no new items to process or no new items. And in the flowchart, I'll try to export it as a workflow. Export as workflow flowchart. Okay. And then remove surrounding sequence. I can remove it. So flowchart, remember, it should always be on the top. If it is always on the top, then things will be easier. Okay, flowchart. Now it's easy. Control A, export as image, copy to clipboard. Yeah, now this is good, right? Let's also delete this one. And let me just add copy as clipboard. So here I'm just invoking the workflow, and this is the image.